Well, good evening. I'm working on a few more of my projects using the Pentacryl for preservation solutions. We're fortifying these blackjack oak branch slivers, I guess I call them. This was cut out of a 90-degree blackjack. The tree came up and was bent over 90 degrees, and these are slices through the elongated section there. I've already put one coat of the Pentacryl on this side, so let's go ahead and roll it over and do the other side of the log section. Alright, we're going to put a set of gloves on when we roll this over. Nice and heavy piece there. Oh, look, it already started coming through this side. That's good. So we're going to go through this procedure over the next week or so. We're going to do this 3 times because this is pretty thick pieces here. I want to make sure I get good penetration of the liquid. It's best to take your time and get this done right. You want to get full penetration and get this really soaked into the wood and let the Pentacryl do its job. The better you do at soaking it, the better the results in the long run are going to be. You leave it kind of liquidy on the top here as you go along. I'm going to be done this 5 gallons here for too long. Goes quite a ways. I did a whole bunch of giant cherry cookies. You can look back in the videos and see those. You just want it to kind of pool up on top of it. And as you saw when I rolled it over, there was areas where it was already coming through, so that's good. It may only take another light coat to really get in there good. So there is a little bit of checking on this one because I had cut it on the mill and the other side had a hump in it, and then the mill broke and I wasn't able to get right to it. So it sat out for a little bit even though I put it in the shade. So I had a little bit of drying going on before I did this. So I'm going to take this outside, and I've got a couple more pieces I want to treat as well. Alright, I was going to take it outside, but then I'm like, well, I got to have some place to store it while it's soaking in. So I figured what I can do is just put these pieces stacked on top of here and just stack them. That way the fluid will just keep running through all of them. I've got a bigger piece here, so let me dig it out here real quick. Now these pieces are a little bit different. These are not the same. This was a different cut on the log, made for some interesting other pieces. Eventually I'll make a small end table out of it, be like a 3-legged table. So they're going to be unique all on their own. So let's see what we got here for some of this beautiful wood. I just put the brush in front of it just to kind of control as it comes out. Look at that. Isn't that some pretty wood, isn't it? This is the fun part. Watching it reveal itself. Man, some pretty stuff. Normally watching paint dry would be kind of boring, but this is kind of neat. Watching it spread and highlight the grain in the wood there as it spreads out. I'm just out in the shop in the evening relaxing. figured I wanted to get these done. I'll do another video after I get done soaking them a couple times on preparing them for drying, so everybody can see after you get done soaking them really good how to seal them up and get them ready for the curing and drying process. So I just keep wiping it in. Alright, we'll give that a few minutes. Maybe a second for you. And I'm going to give that a few minutes to kind of soak through. And we'll see how far it goes through it to the other side. Alright, it's been about 30 minutes. So let's roll this over and see how well it did as far as going all the way through. Went all the way through in some parts of it, not all of it. So our next piece is even more interesting. I have some more like this, but I'm not going to bore you with watching me do those because they're more of the exact same thing. But let's do this other side here. One thing about stacking them like this, when the stuff runs through, it's getting in the piece underneath it. So I do that often. I stack them in a big pile because I'm treating them usually over a couple days of time. So just let the solution run down into the other ones underneath it. Some pretty stuff. I think the other side had a little more look to it. Make sure you seal the ends and the sides. This has got bark on the sides except for this end down here, so I'll seal it with that. A little extra on there. I got some exposed pieces on each end here, so you want to make sure you seal that up good as well. Paint that on. I like painting it on. For one, I can kind of control it if it tries to go over to the sides, and I can spread it around because some areas will tend to soak in more than other areas. So with the brush, you can kind of manipulate it where you want it. So we're gonna swoosh it back and forth, and whatever doesn't. Whatever this won't hold, the piece underneath will. Alright, let me grab a couple more blocks of wood here to put between them. You want something a little bit bigger than that. The next piece isn't quite as big as far as... These are rejected pieces for the... it didn't work in the cutting board, so... works out convenient. Alright, now this next piece is pretty interesting. It's a big old piece. This is 3 inches thick. And this is an oak, another oak. And this is a big red oak piece. Check that out. A big old boy. It's about 3.5 inches thick. Got a little bit of a branch so it came out here. Nice little knot section there. So let's get putting a little bit of the good stuff on this one. Now this one is a little thicker. It seems like it's going to run off the sides a little faster, so I'll make sure I don't put too much back. You want to make sure you seal your ends good now. Well, this gives you a good contrast between the two of them. Because like I say, the other one's blackjack oak, and this is red oak. So now you can see the contrast difference in how they look, and a little similar in some aspects, but not exactly. The blackjack oak has a lot more darker highlights in it. Has a lot more of a golden kind of color to it. Check that out. A little extra on this other one I can bring up. Like I say, it doesn't hurt to put too much. The better you do this, the better off your treatment's going to be. Just let it soak right in there. Pretty much want to flood it with the material. You get you a 5-gallon bucket of this Pentacryl and it will go a long ways. It's well worth the money. If you have a lot of stuff to do, it's cheaper to buy it in bulk in the long run. And a lot of this I got from Preservation Solutions because they've sponsored the channel. And they have sponsored a lot of projects. I'm getting ready to get on the pecan cookies. Those are going to be some nice big thick old cookies too. We're going to be doing those. I'm going to be doing a lot of big stuff this year with this stuff. It'll be another year or so for it to get dry to the point where I can work with it. But check that out. Pretty stuff, huh? Alright, we'll give that about another 20 minutes or so. We'll let that soak in, then we'll flip it over. This piece is a little thicker, so it's going to take a couple more tries. Okay, this is the other side of that oak, red oak. I went ahead and did it. I made a short video on Facebook and for Instagram, so you didn't get to see this one. But you get to see it when it's done. It's still bubbling. Slowly all this is going to soak in. And I'm going to move this off to the side. And I got a couple more pieces I want to do. But I got to find some wood pieces to put this up on. Luckily the shelf has enough room for all this stuff. It's kind of tight, but it works. This one's going to take probably three separate coats to get it filled because it's so thick. It's probably going to be instead of 24 hours, it's going to be like 72 hours. So let's see. I got a couple more of these pieces. I'm just going to get them in the right order based on size. So this is the next piece here. This is a little bit smaller than the other piece. So it would have been the one next to this one. So let's go ahead and continue the fun part. See, it looks like I got a little bit of something. This right here, let's get that off of there. So the solution will get in there. That's why I got a tarp on it. You want to make sure you put a tarp or something under this stuff. I mean, it doesn't hurt to get in your counter, but if you got a decent counter, you don't want it in your counter. This is just a construction counter, work counter. It doesn't hurt it, but I got plastic under it. All right, let's put some more of the good stuff on this piece and see what it looks like. I can't wait till I get to build something out of it. That's going to have to be a lot of patience because it's not going to be anytime soon. Make sure you paint the ends really good. I'll do that 3 or 4 times every time I do it. I have a tendency to flood it, put a little extra on there, and just keep wiping the ends that are exposed. Man, look at that. So that's how nice it's going to look when you get a finish on it. Might do an epoxy finish, I'm not sure. We'll see. I got plenty of time to think about that. little bit more stuff we don't want on it here. Sometimes I'll sand these, or at least lightly sand them ahead of time. I didn't do it, so being kind of lazy. Alright. So now I'll go find something to do for another 20 minutes or so. And we'll flip it over and do the other side. Alright, let's see how far it's penetrated through this piece. It's been about 20 minutes. Out digging through some of my piles of lumber. Picking out some for more projects. Well, it came through a little bit. Not too bad. I say it usually takes a couple soakings of this to get it worked into the wood real good. That's a little much there. Let's get that. That's why I like using the brush. I can bring it back like a squeegee. I guess a little squeegee would probably work too, but brush is nice because I can brush it into the ends here and the sides. These pieces right here are only 1 3/4 inches, something like that thick. Yeah, if you look, I'll leave the information for buying this through Amazon. If you use my link, I'd appreciate it. So I get associates little compensation. Would be nice. Yeah, just let that soak in. And I'll be coming back and doing another video on how to wrap this stuff up. I won't do a second video on putting more stuff on it, but just know that I'm going to be putting another coat of this on there before we get to the next stage. One more last piece. One last piece. Guess I probably shouldn't use the walnut. Dig through my stash here. My stash of leftover boards. Some of the walnut ones, they get little checks in them or little bad spots in them, so I don't use them. It's a shame, but I mean they're not usable for a project, so I don't want to put bad material out there. Alright, here comes the baby one. This was further down the log. Looks like I got the chainsaw in a little bit. I hadn't decided how if I'm gonna curve these or how I'm gonna do it when I go to make something out of them. I may make round cookies out of them and just draw a circle. I don't know. That'd be kind of boring, I think. But I'll figure out something when that time comes, I guess. You can leave some ideas in the comments how you might, what kind of shape you might make these into if they were yours and you were messing with them. Get the sides really good, work it in there. because it's hard to get it to go soak in on the sides. You just have to paint it on there and let it soak in each time you do it. That's why I like having the ones below it, so I'm not wasting the juice. See, it gets down here and builds up, and I can usually just shovel it off of those ones and move it up to the other ones. This is why I have the plastic underneath there as well, even though it's wider than the plastic, it works. Won't hurt the floor any. It's old shop floor, old wooden floor. Alright, we'll let that soak in. Another 20 minutes, we'll be back. Alright, let's flip this one over. See how well it did. I've almost got these stacked. If I turn the other one over, it would have been stacked like it was cut. And I realize this side on this one is really dirty. So let me grab the vacuum and get all this stuff off of here, because you don't want to put the stuff on there with that. Alright, vacuum cleaner made quick work of that. Just clean it off. You don't want all that stuff. Like I say, sometimes I'll lightly sand it. It's not necessary. You're going to have to do some of these. You're going to have to run a router, use a router sled if they got a little bit of a twist to them. I have a bench made to go in a sawmill where I can resaw these, put like a carbide blade on there, which leaves a pretty good finish, actually less rough than this, and then you can just take over from there, sanding it. So we'll see. There we go. Do these ends real quick. I will put some cardboard over this over the evening here and let this stuff soak in. I don't want it to evaporate. Just want to keep it good and wet. And then we will go through the next step on the next video. And get them all wrapped up for the dry and curing time. Be a lot of good stuff. Got a lot more of them to do.